A little girl came running into the house, bawling her eyes out and cradling her hands. "Mommy, quick, get me a glass of cider," she wailed. "Why do you want a glass of cider?" asked her mom. "I cut my hand on a thorn and I want the pain to go away." Confused but weary of the child's whining, the mother obliged and poured her a glass of cider. The little girl immediately dunked her hand in it. "Ouch, it still hurts." "This cider doesn't work," she whined. "What are you talking about?" asked Mom. "What made you think that cider would ease the pain?" "Well, I overheard my big sister that whenever she gets a prick in her hand, she can't wait to get it in cider." Bill worked in a pickle factory. He had been employed there for a number of years when he came home one day to confess to his wife that he had a tremendous urge to stick his penis into the pickle slicer. His wife suggested that he should see an therapist to talk about it, but Bill indicated that he'd be too embarrassed. He vowed to overcome the compulsion on his own. One day, a few weeks later, Bill came home absolutely ashen. His wife could see that at once, that something was seriously wrong. "What's wrong, Bill?" she asked. Do you remember that I told you how I had this tremendous urge to put my into the pickle slicer?" "Oh, Bill, you didn't." "Yes, I did." "My God, Bill, what happened?" "I got fired." "No, Bill, I mean what happened with the pickle slicer?" "Oh, she got fired too," the man says. Businessman and his secretary, overcome by passion, go to his house for an early afternoon quickie. "Don't worry," he assures her. "My wife is out of town on a business trip, so there's no risk." As one thing leads to another, the woman reaches into her purse and suddenly gasps. "We have to stop. I forgot to bring my contraceptive." "No problem," he replies. "I'll get my wife's diaphragm." After a few minutes of searching, he returns to the bedroom in a fury. "That witch!" he exclaims. "She took it with her. I always knew she didn't trust me." Young man is walking his dog in the park when a beautiful young woman stops to admire the animal. "What's your dog's name?" she asks flirtatiously. "Herpes," replies the dog's owner. "How odd!" exclaims the woman. "Why in the world did you name your dog Herpes?" The young man replies, "Because he just won't heal." Two old retirees were talking about naughty acts in a cafe. When they finished, the two retirees paid their bill and leave the cafe. A young man sitting next to them has overheard the conversation and smiles to himself, thinking it would be quite amusing to see two old retirees going at it. He gets up and follows them. Sure enough, he sees the two old retirees near the factory. The little old lady pulls off her panties and lifts up her dress. The old man pulls down his pants and grabs the lady's hips, and the little old lady then reaches for the fence. Well, what follows is 40 minutes of the most athletic the man has ever seen. The little old man is banging away at the little old woman at a pace that only can be described as phenomenal. Limbs are flying everywhere, the movement is a blur, and they do not stop for a single round. Finally, they collapse and don't move for an hour. The man is stunned. Never in his life has he ever seen anything that equates to this. Not in the movies. Not from his friends. Not from his own experiences. Reflecting on what he has just seen, he says to himself, "I have to know his secret. If only I could like that now, let alone in 50 years' time." The two old retirees have by this time recovered and dressed themselves. Gathering the courage, he approaches the older man. He says, "Sir, in all my life I have never seen anybody screw like that, particularly at your age. What's your secret? Could you like that 50 years ago?" The retiree replies, "Son, 50 years ago that fence wasn't electric." guy went out hunting. He had all the gear, the jacket, the boots, and the double-barreled shotgun. As he was climbing over a fence, he dropped the gun and it went off, right on his Obviously, he had to see a doctor. When he woke up from surgery, he found that the doctor had done a marvelous job repairing it. As he got ready to go home, the doctor gave him a business card. "This is my brother's card. I will make an appointment for you to see him." The guy says, "Is your brother a doctor?" "No," Doc replies. "He plays the flute. He'll show you where you put your fingers so you don't piss in your eye." A man walks into a bar and says, "Give me a beer." The bartender says, "Seems as though you've got a major stuttering problem." The man replies, No kidding." The bartender says, "I used to stutter, but my wife cured me. One afternoon, she gave me 3 times in a row, and I haven't stuttered since." The man says, That's great to know." A week later, the same man walks into the bar and says, Give me a beer." The bartender says, "Why didn't you try what I told you?" "I did," said the man. "It just didn't work. But I must say, you have a really nice apartment." A little girl came running into the house, bawling her eyes out and cradling her hands. "Mommy, quick, get me a glass of cider," she wailed. "Why do you want a glass of cider?" asked her mom. "I cut my hand on a thorn and I want the pain to go away." Confused but weary of the child's whining, the mother obliged and poured her a glass of cider. The little girl immediately dunked her hand in it. "Ouch, it still hurts." "This cider doesn't work," she whined. "What are you talking about?" asked Mom. "What made you think that cider would ease the pain?" "Well, I overheard my big sister that whenever she gets a prick in her hand, she can't wait to get it in cider." A man walks into a pharmacy, buys a condom, then walks out of the store laughing hysterically. The pharmacist thinks this is weird, but there are no laws preventing weird people from buying condoms. Who knows? Maybe it's a good thing. The next day, the same man comes back to the store, purchases yet another condom, and once again, he leaves the store laughing wildly. This piques the interest of the pharmacist. What could be so funny after buying a condom anyway? So he tells his clerk, if that guy ever comes back, I want you to follow him to see where he goes. Sure enough, the next day the same man is back. He buys the thing and again starts cracking up with laughter, then leaves. The pharmacist tells his clerk to go follow the guy. About an hour later, the clerk comes back to the store. "Did you follow him? Where did he go?" asks the pharmacist. The clerk replies, "Your house."